All right, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. Today we have a 15 Pro refurbishing. I want to show you guys how I cut this 15 Pro and I put a new glass on there. We will not be framing it today. It will just be a video about how to cut it, where do you want to start, how to be gentle, not really be gentle, but how to remove the frame because there is glue on the other side right here, right on the cable, that really binds it to the frame a little. So I want to show you guys how we can go ahead and refurbish that without damaging the screen, obviously, so we can resell that phone, or basically resell the screen. Or so what we do basically, we sell screens, refurbished screens, or we can also take care of your refurbishing needs. Let's say you have a lot of 15 phones, for example. They have very scratched up screens or broken screens. You want to get it refurbished so you can resell it. Well, that's something we can definitely do for you. Just so you guys can see that the screen is working. It is touching. Now this one is just a scratched up screen. That's why I only have a single sheet of tape going down, just so I can help suction it and doesn't move while I'm cutting it. So what I like to do is I like to start from the top. First things first, we're going to warm up the screen first so we can be able to remove the top section of the frame. The reason why we do that is because we want to go with our Oka sheet right between the glass and the LCD and the OLED, just so we don't cut the polarizer and we are 100% between the glass and the OLED itself and the panel. Basically, I don't want to say the wrong word and people are going to flame me in the comments, but so let's give it a few seconds to warm up. I do have my temperature at 120. I do not suggest you cut at 120. You might damage the polarizer sometimes at high temperatures. A good temperature, I would say, would be 100. You do have to cook it a little longer because this glue right here is very tough to, it's very solid, and to remove that glue and for it to be kind of malleable, it does have to warm up for quite some time. That's why I put it at 120. It just is faster for me. We're gonna use this tool. I have magnets here because I like to have it accessible right next to me. So this, I obviously removed the stickers because they were peeling, but it's from Tuyul. It's very thin right here, and what's gonna do is we're gonna use this to go between the panel from the back and where the camera sits, right? So we're gonna gently just go. We're gonna make sure that we're not actually going right here on the OLED itself, but we are only strictly on the panel, and then we're gonna loosen up the adhesive on that side. Jesus, okay, there we go. So we're gonna loosen up the adhesive on that side, and what we're going to do is we're going to lift the frame so we can start. Now this frame is rubber, so what I do is with that same tool I gently push on the back of the frame so I can just kind of create my starting point of where I could lift it from. And a lot of the times that frame, that rubber, is just going to break, and then the pieces are just going to stick on the glass itself. I'll show you guys right here. So I'm just gonna gently cut right there. I'm only on the panel itself. I'm not applying too much pressure because I do not want to create a black dot or anything. Now that I have a good piece out, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift up that side gently, and now that the frame is up on that side, I can just keep lifting. Now you guys can see that the rubber is still here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lift up this whole section, just up to like halfway through. Perhaps you don't need more than that. The wire is just gonna do the rest for you, and then gently peel off this piece right here. I'm rubbing away, not in, obviously. And the top side right here. Now the top side is the most tough part to remove for some reason. I guess they just have a lot more adhesive on that side, or I don't know what it is, but for sure it's a little tougher on that side. Now as you can see, there's a small piece right here that stayed. I don't want to touch it. Normally I do it with this, but I don't want you guys to get close with any metal piece around the panel itself, because you can risk creating a black dot. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go with my ochre sheet. I obviously did not remove this whole thing right here because there is no need. I just need to make a starting point, basically. That's all I needed. I removed more than I was supposed to. It doesn't matter, it doesn't hurt, obviously. So we're just gonna put some alcohol right here, and then we're gonna make sure we're gonna go between the glass and the panel, just like that, and then just back and forth gently. Obviously, with not a lot of pressure. It should go in with some alcohol, so it just starts cutting through the glue. Now that we are in, we don't need to be more than that. We can just go ahead and use our 0.028 wire, and then we're just gonna go nice. This is the last of this spool, so I'm just gonna get another one real quick. Alright, so we are going to go under the ochre sheet, between the ochre sheet and the glass, and then we are gonna go back and forth just like that. Now right there where we left this piece, we have to be careful that we are under it, not over it. If you're over it, you're gonna cut that polarizer no matter what you do. So now we're just gonna go ahead and pull. Gently pull, obviously, until you clear out the whole right side of that screen. Now you can start from the left or right, it doesn't matter. I'm a lefty, I like to start from the left side, obviously. Now coming to this side, you see this piece right here, that plastic. Again, just like the front, we want to make sure that we are under it. There you go. Now we can go ahead and pull. Now as you can see, I'm cutting it in a triangular shape. Now that I cut this side, I'm gonna go back, and then I'm gonna cut this side. There you go. And then through the middle. Then do the same thing all over again up until I get to the bottom. Again, make sure you are under the plastic, the rubber piece of the frame. You can never be over, because as soon as you get over, you're 100% cutting that polarizer. All right. Now, when I'm getting to the bottom, I just like to spool it out one shot. So basically hold and pull. There you go. Now we're gonna go ahead and pull out the screen and test it out to make sure it's still good. What I like to do is, I shouldn't have unsuctioned it, but I just want to show you guys the panel that we did not cut the polarizer. As you guys can see, it's really good. Now you see this part of the frame right here, it kind of overlaps a little on the polarizer itself. That's why a lot of people cut it. So just make sure you peel it off, obviously. Let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and remove the whole frame, and then we'll test the screen, just so it's more comfortable for us. Suction it back in. Now lift up the frame gently up until you reach this area right here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a small amount of alcohol on that side and a small amount of alcohol on that side. Let the alcohol do its job, dissipate the adhesive that's right here, and then meanwhile the panel is warming up again, so we can start removing the frame from the bottom. All right, so now we're going to gently lift up. All right, see, it's like small resistance right here, so we're just gonna add a bit more alcohol. and then we're gonna lift back up again gently. As you guys can see, it lifted semi gentle, like with no how do we call it, I guess pressure, but not really. Yeah, with a bit of pressure it just went up. So now when we get there, we're just gonna lift up all the way like this, and then we're gonna go outwards from one side while still holding the other side. And the reason why is you have the adhesive right here that's on the frame and gets glued to the cable itself. So let me just remove that right here. And I wish I have a better example for you guys, but maybe I'll try to show it on this one. But the reason why I do that is just so the glue itself doesn't stick on the cable itself, but perhaps stays on the frame. The glue is like literally on the cable itself. As you guys can see, there's residue of it right here. I'm gonna try to get closer to the camera. And like this type of glue right there, it goes on the cable itself. So now that we removed it, we can go ahead and test it out. Turn on our tester. All right, test it out. Look at that. Now test touch. Look at that. There is no black dots. There is no lines, and clearly the screen is good. So let's go ahead and clean it out and prepare it to put a new screen on. I want to show you guys what I am talking about on the frame itself. Hopefully I can showcase it in the video. But right here, this glue right there that sits, it literally sits right here, and then you can see it right here as well. Like this is the glue. They put it underneath here, perhaps to protect the cable, perhaps to just have a stronger bond so it doesn't separate. I am not too sure, to be honest with you, but yeah, so this is how I avoid leaving this glue on the cable itself, because when you're cleaning it, it's kind of hard to clean it off the cable, and if you're applying a bit of pressure on that cable itself, you know you're gonna come out with lines or something. So this suction mat does not suction this screen. So what I do is that same Oka sheet, I close up with it, the small hole right here, and then I lay the panel on the bigger portion, and then just kind of find the sweet spot to suction it. Does not want to get sucked in today. Sometimes it helps by moving on the mat. There you go. You can hear that the pump instantly changed sound. So now we can go ahead and remove the glue. We're using the spinning rod tool. To me, it's very efficient and fast. You do have to be careful not to smack the cable or go over the panel with it, because if you go around the cable with it, you're risking to have lines, and if you overlap it around the panel itself, you're going to risk having black dots or horizontal lines perhaps. Alright. Now it seems like this panel is going to be relatively easy to clean. You see how I'm not getting close at all to the cable in the bottom? I'm like fairly away from it by like at least 1 millimeter. You don't want to go over it with the spinning rod over the cable itself. So I'm just going to switch the rotation so I can do the top side. All right, now we can just simply use a clean room wipe and then clean up the the residue of the Oka that's on there from before. All right, I like to be generous with my alcohol portion, so I'm using 99% alcohol on this. Some people like to use acetone. I just simply prefer the alcohol itself. I feel like it dries a bit slower than the acetone, and it just gives me more cleaning power, perhaps, in my opinion. So now there are some few spots, just like gently scratch them off. These are from the Oka itself that are a bit harder to clean with the clean room wipe. In certain occasions I use the magic eraser. Obviously this has been used and abused. I'm not going to use that, obviously, but since it doesn't have a lot of glue residue on the screen itself, it's kind of pointless to use the magic eraser, because it kind of discolors a bit the polarizer, even though you will never notice it. For me, I like to have a clean panel. So on the cable in the bottom, gently, like I'm not even putting my finger on it, I'm just letting the wipe itself wipe it out. You don't, like, sometimes, like, even if you look at it sideways, you can just create lines and stuff like that. So I'm just gently rubbing it, and then right here as well, like barely, I'm not even touching it, it's only the wipe itself that's touching it. There's small residue of glue right here, and this could cause like a spot in the Oka when you're laminating it and stuff like that. So we definitely do not want that. In these instances like this, when you have like a small piece of glue that's very resilient and it's not coming out with this, and it's obviously an area where you can't really gently rub with your nail, like this for example here, I can just do this with my nail a little bit and it will go away. Of course, if I hit it, obviously. It's literally in on the edge. And what helps a lot is those plastic blades. I always keep them handy. They're in my drawer currently right now. There's no reason for me to use it on this. They're just small spots. Like here, I'm applying a little bit of pressure in the middle. That's fine. Where you can't apply pressure is in the middle. Not in the middle, I mean by the cable. So as you guys can see, the panel is pretty clean. Now it's ready for our glass. There's missed one spot right here. And there you go. I can't spot any. I missed a few spots right here. Let me get my plastic razor real quick. These are the ones that I'm talking about. Just gonna wet it a bit with alcohol and then go on the side right here, clean up that edge. I am just letting the blade do its job. I'm not even applying pressure at all. You want to use a new blade, obviously, because the older the blade, where it's sharp, it obviously gets degraded, and then you won't be able to have even pressure across, and then you can risk crushing the polarizer. Even though it's plastic, you can still scratch it. Yeah, I kind of missed a few spots on the sides, but it's to be expected. That's where the frame sits too as well. It kind of hugs the screen with the Oka, and it just creates this kind of glue that's a little bit of a pain to clean. But obviously with the magic eraser, it's a lot easier to clean. I'm just making it harder on myself for some reason, for the sake of not discoloring or like having it smear the polarizer. All right, so now let's just give it another wipe with a cleaner clean room wipe. I'm not using the clean room that we have at the moment. It's because it's just a small screen. I'm doing only one, and just for the sake of the video, I won't be able to record that step over there. So now that we have that screen cleaned up, we can go ahead and put the new glass on. So we're gonna desuction it. We are going to keep our glass facing up and the Oka facing down, and then we're gonna peel the Oka sheet off. The reason why we're doing that is so the dust does not fall on the Oka itself. And then, now that I have the glass ready, I'm just gonna lift the panel, give it a quick glance real quick, make sure that there's nothing, and then I'm just gonna quickly flip the glass and then line it up with the Oka itself, starting by the top so you can line up the camera, and it kind of gives you a better guidance. So I line it up with the Oka itself, the Oka line itself. I line up the panel to it and make sure it's even all across before dropping the bottom. Now I don't drop it all the way, that way that if I need to move it, I could still move it. Now that I know that I am in the spot that I want, I'm just gonna apply small pressure right here. Like as you guys can see, it's really even on the top and the bottom. And as you guys can see, there is no, like, it hasn't even pre-laminated nothing. Obviously there's it's held by the Oka only by the sides, and now it's ready to go in the laminator, then debubbler, then framing it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new, and I hope this video helps you not damage polarizers or panels on these 15 Pros and Pro Max. This process also works on the 15 Pro Max. It's literally the same panel. Remember this, I cut a screen that is not broken. A broken panel is a little harder. You would have to be careful a lot removing the frame because of the glass shards that can be on the frame itself, on that rubber piece. So what I would suggest is to try to cut off the metal piece of the frame from the rubber, and then gently remove that rubber away from the panel, like pulling it outwards versus upwards, just so like if there are any glass pieces, they can just kind of get dragged out versus puncturing the panel itself. Thank you so much for tuning in on this video. Please like and subscribe. If there's anything that you guys want me to do, please leave it in the comments. I welcome any critiques, so if you have any critiques, please also leave them in the comments. If you have any questions, leave them there as well, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.